Wake your ass up! It is time for the podcast. We are live and uncut.
We back with another one, man. It's the Wake Your Ass Up podcast, man. I got a very special guest today, man, in the building, man. You know what I'm saying? It's an old school player right here. You know what I'm saying? Original town business. You know what I'm saying? Lem. You know what I'm saying? We gonna go to the Lem. You know what I'm saying?
Peace and blessings, King Leonard. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you, man. I appreciate this.
Come on, man. You know, this guy right here, man, is a pioneer staple when we come to these, you know, these concretes. You know what I'm saying? Like, he done been there. He done stood tall through them all. You feel me? And to still be here, bro, it's a blessing to have you here today. You know what I'm saying? But let's start from the very beginning, you know what I'm saying? How was the upbringing of you, you know what I'm saying, in Sobrante Park?
Oh, I love it that you started there. 'Cause my upbringing in Sobrante Park was special. And the part that I didn't acknowledge as being special till my 30s was the fact that my mama got us to East Oakland, Sobrante Park from Kuntz, Texas. You can't even find it on a map. It's like a back country, like can't get no more country than this, you know. And like it's like one of them places where people really didn't have nothing. And you know what the South was, you know. I wouldn't have. It wasn't meant for me to be there because I don't think it would have been more uglier than the stuff I went through, you know. But she got us to East Oakland, Sobrante Park, and you know, it was like coming up, it was like having an African village, like growing up in an African village. Like we didn't really experience, the only racism we experienced was the police coming in and out the hood, taking your homeboys or knocking on the door, serving warrants. So it was kind of different from the traditional racism, look down at the ground when you talking to, you know what I mean? Cause like we had our own little city, like Sobrante, we had everything. And so we had barbershops, we hairdressers, we had everything. We had check cashing, everything that you could think of was inside of Sobrante. And then you went up 105th, and like in the 80s, they put Durant Square there. So like we didn't really have to go too far. You know, it took me later in my life to start venturing out. But to answer that question, it was just beautiful because, you know, the concept of it takes a village to raise a baby, I lived that. Like, because I had brothers, I had a bunch of uncles, I had a bunch of aunties, and I had people that went to school with my brother. So you always had somebody looking out for you. You know, before I even had identity, I was Lil Lockett. You know what I mean? So then you grow everything, your name, everything, you get that from the transitioning and, you know, being around. But yeah, it was just like family orientated. It's like being a part of a very important family.
So were you one of the kids, you know what I'm saying, that grew up in a neighborhood that went to all the schools that was within the neighborhood? You know what I'm saying? Because Sobrante got schools that a lot of motherfuckers never got to go to because they couldn't cross that train tracks. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, y'all has your own environment when you come to like culturally inclined. Like, how was that being a kid that grew up in Sobrante, going to the schools in Sobrante, and probably having family members or somebody worked at the schools and shit?
Yeah, I lived at like a couple houses down from Sobrante Elementary. So I used to get into fights and I might lose, and I'd run home and go get my brother, come back and have my brother hold who I was fighting. And like, so, oh no, it just was, I don't know. It was beautiful, man, you know, cause in my mind, you thought everything was the same until we went to Casamont. Then we went to Casamont. That was the furthest, you know, away from the hood. You know, we had been moving and grooving, but on some school stuff, you know, because Sobrante was right here, Madison was right there. So if my house was 2 houses away from Sobrante, it's about like 3 houses away from Madison. So I didn't even use the bathroom at school. I'd go home and come right back. So when we start venturing out to other schools, just kind of took the same stuff we learned from the Sobrante and the Another thing I could say about the schools was like, when I went to school, the teachers and principals were predominantly African American.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So I went to school in an era where you got your hand could have got paddled, or they had a paddle for your ass.
So,
you know what I mean?
true.
So it was totally different. We was not at school acting like we didn't have no home training. I ain't never cussed no teacher out. I ain't never did none of that shit you see these youngsters get to do it now. Like the teachers and not the hall monitors, the authority wasn't scared of us.
Facts.
When I went to school, that's all I'm trying to say. So it was like, we go put your little ass in a corner somewhere before we let you disrupt this class, but you ain't going home. You ain't about to go do what you want to do. You still go be here. We just go isolate you, and we go teach everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So due to the circumstances of you going to the outer schools and shit and having to defend from being from Sabrina out to the inner city, when did the transition come to where you made this decision like, I'm about to put my feet in the streets?
I think once I probably started hustling around like 88, I was 12. So I hadn't made it to even Castlemine yet. But you have to understand, like in 88, when I say I started hustling, that don't mean I wasn't copping bricks and no shit. I probably started off as a lookout. I stood on $100 a day, but I'm 12 years old, daddy-o.
The same nigga.
You feel what I'm saying? I'm 12 years old. I'm a lookout, or the big homies got me watching something. Watch this car. We're gonna be gone for about 12 hours, come back, and you're still there. Another $100. So that was how we got our foot wet, or, just some small bagging up tree. Going to come in with all them peas and y'all help me bag this up. And big bro look out for everybody. So we didn't get pushed in the game, and our big homies didn't need us. We wanted some money. And it was just like, it started with little jobs. And if you stayed consistent and, and you were mature enough, you got bigger jobs. And then, the bigger job come to posting one day, getting a bundle. You know what I'm talking about, Dale. You get your little bundle. But it was all about hustling to better your situation. Like, wasn't nobody just hustling just to say they was hustling. Like, I probably never would have started hustling if they had grabbed my brother in around like 87, Killer Kid, rest in peace, Killer Kid. And like, bro was balling. So to lose somebody in your, like, I don't even know my mom educational level. I want to say I'm quite sure she had a high school diploma, and my dad was a lumberjack. So, we had the house, but, I should be back in the 80s. It was hard. And bro was balling, and it was good. But I had the kind of mother, she was a Southern Baptist. She wasn't into illegal stuff. So it was like she wasn't taking no bankrolls from my brother because she still preaching Jesus and, you know what I mean? So even whatever he was able to do for us, like he took care of us, like as far as the troops and the clothes. But then when brother left, we didn't have that. And it was like mom's did the best she could do, but I already had a taste of what it felt like. So shit, I'm like, well, I gotta be brother now. I gotta take care of the family. That was my mentality when I started hustling. Was like, shit. I didn't know what my brother was doing because he never exposed no game to me. But, as that sponge, you suck everything up. So I seen, I didn't look up on his mattress and found like 200, 300,000 before as a youngster. And I remember I told on him before. I went and told mom, I said, Mom, Kevin got all this money under the bed. I think I got him kicked out the house. She bagged the money out, like, get out of my house with this shit. That's the kind of mom I had. So yeah, Black Queen, she wasn't playing, and them prayers saved us, man. That them prayers is the reason why I'm here to this day, But bro rectified it. He went did his time, came home, never went back down. We was able, mom's never lost a house in Sabrina, sold the house, went to Oklahoma by my sister, bought a house, lived her life out past that 84. So, she got some peace, but it was a time where that dough was getting kicked in a lot because of her boys. How that shit was in the 80s, and we was on that corner and the warrants come out and 4, 5 in the morning. tap, tap, boom. They looking for either me or Kevin or my brother Vaughn, somebody.
From what I'm hearing and shit, your brother was getting incarcerated real young. You feel me? 1988, right?
No, he was like one of my oldest.
I know.
Second oldest, yeah.
So that was around 88, right?
No, he went down around like 87.
So 87, that's like heavy when the crack epidemic hit,
facts,
you know what I'm saying? Between
fact.
like 84 and 88, that's when it was like real serious. Like, as you being a child at that time, like, because you had two causes in effect with this shit. Your brother going to go get incarcerated, you had to be outside by yourself. And then also when he came back out, the cause and effects of having that muscle behind you, how did that make you feel?
It was like the way you said would have been a traditional way, but like by the time bruh got back, well, let me say this. Sobrani is so family orientated that my brother wasn't there when I was making my bones, but the stuff he did before I got on the field played a big part. I had favor because I was Kevin Lockett little brother, like a lot of people went out their way. So I was blessed with that. And then when bruh come back, it's like bruh was different. Bruh left the game alone. Like he came back and so bruh never really told me none of the stories. When I got on the field, I heard all the stories. So now I want confirmation for bruh, and bruh didn't want to talk about that. And bruh was like hella older and hella mature, and he didn't want that life for me, and he led by example. Bruh he came home, he went there like 12, 13 years, came home, got a job for Coca-Cola. And one day I remember I was hustling, and he come pick me up, and we riding around, and he like, go in my what you call it in the car? The glove, go in the glove compartment. And I went in the glove compartment and it was full of money. I'm like, bro, what you hustling again? He said, nope. He said, I drive a forklift for Coca-Cola and I do a lot of overtime. He said, that's probably way more money than you got right now. I was like, yeah. He said, it's more than one way to skin a cat. And that's what bruh started showing me, you know what I mean? But like when bruh came home, I still was transitioning a lot of in and out, like 6 or 7 months here, go do 2-3 years, come back for a year, go do 2-3 years. So that was going on a lot.
So throughout your stints of these 2-3 years and shit, like, how did being away from your family and having to be in gladiator school affect your mental health?
I didn't know what the fuck mental health was back then. All I knew was be the hardest. At this time, I'm a Spartan, same way they raised theirs up, like I was breeding like a pit. So do you think pits worry about mental health? When you got that pit in the backyard and you train me, when you want to fight another pit, no such thing as mental health. It's either you make it or you don't.
That's deep, you know what I'm saying? Because just to understand that and to vividly hear it clear from you, at that time of the mind state, you had to be on a whole nother plateau of thinking, you know what I'm saying? Because that's in a place where you ain't guaranteed to make it back. So I understand that shit, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, damn, like it took so much of who Christopher was because a motherfucker had to be this solid body at a time, this silverback at all the time. You feel me? Is there times that you miss not being able to be Christopher because you had to be, you know what I'm saying, that putting Sobrani on your back so strong?
I'm gonna say prior to all that, the best part of my life was playing with Hot Wheels and Transformers and video games and shit like that. That's when, nigga was a young king and you ain't no worries, man, It was this, like, that was a priceless point in my life. And also when I really, cause well, I ain't gonna say, it's a difference between having kids and fathering kids. When I start fathering my kids, that was a beautiful experience. Cause I've had kids and I'm in and out. So it's almost close to being impossible to father a kid from prison. You can do some communication and you can do some writing, but I know what real fathering is. And I've been doing some real fathering, been out for 11 years straight. So I've been able to correct some of them wrongs. And that's priceless in itself, you know. So I think when I was doing all, you know, when you become a parent, you ask yourself stuff like, would I want this for my child? And if it don't lock in, like, cause I want better for my child. So I don't want none of my kids to see prison. I don't want none of my kids to see the hole. I don't want none of my kids involved in a race riot. I don't want them. Now, if they choose a path that lead them to that, that ain't what I wanted for them. That ain't what I was encouraging. You know what I mean? Cause I look at my life now, like every pothole I fell in or every mistake I made it so you won't have to make the same mistake. So come talk to me. Let's, you know, I got a little 14-year-old that think he want to be a gangster right now, you know? And even though I've been transitioning out of that lifestyle for 11 years on the street and years behind the wall, he's still like, he sits up and watches the King Von interviews and other people. And I try to have conversations with him. I'm like, everybody you like is dead, little bro. He be like, yeah, but I ain't no but. You know, you want to stay alive for long as possible. You can lose and get a lot of stuff back, but you can't get your life back. Once that's gone, it's over. You know.
So due to your back and forth stints and shit, where did the introduction of you come in to where the music started taking a part?
Okay, I come up in the greatest era of hip hop. You know, the golden era. I had 4 older brothers, so I love the music. V White probably that's my cousin. That's probably the first person I knew in real life that made music. You know what I mean? So when I came out of White the first time, the Delinquents was bubbling, you know, and V would come grab me, take me to the studio. And like, I would be sitting in the studio and they playing different beats and go get on there, get on that. But, and this back when the young 3-time crazy, they in the studio, the young loonies, they in there. So I'm fresh out of YA. I got these raps I done wrote and V is making me go rap. I'm in there with the, you know, even though they haven't turned into what they turned to, but I'm in there in the beginning with these kind of people. So I started, I got my first feature on Our House, middle of the street, classic Bosses Will Be Bossin' album. I think I went right back after that. But I remember I was somewhere in a reception somewhere. And when you're in reception, it's a lot of people on the tier. Y'all can't see each other, but everybody talking. And I heard somebody say, man, you heard that Our House? That's the best song on the Whoop Whoop. And I'm in the cell and I'm on there. And if I would have tried to tell them I was on there, well, nobody gonna believe me, you know, because some people, you know, you don't know everybody who's in cell. So if I'm like, I'm the one that's on there, they go, oh, you lying? Whoa, whoa, whoa. So they go, you know, so I'm just kicking back and I'm listening. And I'm like, you know, next time you get back on the field, take that rap stuff more serious. And then come back to the field. I want to go to the studio. No matter what I was doing, no matter what I had going on, I wanted to get in that studio. And then you got to think back in these days, this back to real, when the music was on. It was before the Pro Tools. It was reel to reel and DATs. So you can rap on some shit and not hear it for 2-3 years later and forgot you done rapped on it. But everything I rapped on fucking with the Delinquents V and shout out G-Stack, they made sure it seen the light of day. And it just shit, that was the spark right there. Cause you know, back in the hood, you like, see, I'm come back to the hood, they playing the song. Everybody know the verse and they rapping and shit. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. For sure.
So every time that you then there got a little umph to the shit, you never got your whole due diligence. So it's like, due to you having little ins and out spurts, do you think that shit played a domino effect of you being a household name in our area today as a rapper?
If I would have had the ability to take it a little more like shout out Jay Stalin, the Live Wire camp. If I could have been that serious, Live Wire camp, they were serious and they stayed on it. If I would have been able to apply that kind of discipline, I believe I would have been a household name. But I gotta add this too. I think I wanted to be a gangster more than I wanted to be a rapper. So I was a gangster, and rap was my hobby, not saying nothing about nobody else. So I never really took the rapping as serious until I don't know. I want to say maybe I really took rap serious the last time I came home in 2015. And, the game was changed. It went from old schools to Bentleys and Maseratis and all that. And the town is looking like New York. And it's looking like that because of gangster rap music. So now I'm like, okay, I'm a gangster and I can rap pretty good. Why not? Let's put your all into it.
When you say, right, gangster, right?
Yeah.
What is your definition of a gangster? You feel me? Like, what is your interpretation of a gangster?
You want the now and the then, or the then and the now?
I want the honest.
The honest truth, the definition of being a gangster is taking care of your responsibilities, man, taking care of your family, or wanting the best for your family. And the only thing that, like, a gangster is a gangster ain't picking up the phone to call the police. If you fuck with me and mine, I'll be back. And that's it. And that's all. Because you got to think, bro, from dating back to the slave trade, and I ain't trying to put nothing on no racial shit, but we don't have no business trusting certain people. You know what I mean? Unless you grew up in Beverly Hills or somewhere, look what that shit got O.J. Simpson.
Right.
You know what I mean? So as a black man, gangster is if you rape my daughter, you poison my son, or you mess with my wife, I'm coming for your ass. That was gangster. Other than that, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. But to this day, I couldn't see myself calling the police on nobody, bro. Yeah. And it might be a messed up way of thinking or whatever, but that's just me. So that's what gangster is. Cause you can't be like gangster. You a gangster because you sell dope. Look at big pharmaceutical.
They sell all dope.
Look at the cannabis clubs now. so it's the gangster is like, what will you do to protect yours? How, cause some people create a whole bunch of chaos and then will pick up the phone and call the police like they're a victim. You know what I mean? So that's just my definition. And when you watch how the Italian people govern and protect their people, or how the Black Panthers governed and protected their people, that was gangster. Because at the time when the Italian people did what they did, there wasn't no programs for their people. And when later, they wouldn't put their people in position. Gangster is putting your people in position, brother. For longevity, not for the just now, not for the Bentley car or for the big chain. I'm putting this move down so 3 generations down the road, my people won't be working in the field. Yes, sir. That's gangster.
Right. That was a cool explanation. So I got something a little deep, right? As you being an elder, right?
Facts.
What do you think is some of the dividings between the OGs and the youngsters?
That's easy. When I was a youngster, my OGs was on the field with us. We got to see our OGs. We got to see our OGs that snort some heroin or some coke in front of you and tell you, I bet I never catch you doing this or I'll break your face. You feel me? And we probably didn't understand, but we knew we couldn't do that. You feel what I'm saying? And like, it kept us in our place, gave us people to look up to, and the people we was looking up to, we knew they wasn't perfect. We had some of my favorite aunties smoke coke, but she had the biggest heart in the world. You know what I mean? And we still loved her to death. So what this generation is, it's a big disconnect. They didn't get to see anything. It was like, I feel like these youngsters that raised themselves. You know, it's like, imagine buying a brand new Bentley that comes with no dealer's manual. You don't know how to do nothing. And these youngsters been trying to figure it out. And when you on top ground and somebody's in the hole, I could pass by you and say, I'm gonna go get you some help. And I could forget. I could say I'm going to get a rope. Can't find a rope. I can give up. The only thing gonna change, you gotta get in that hole with that youngster. Gotta get in that hole with him and show him how to get out. And a lot of people, they give you, a lot of people ain't willing to do that. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest disconnect. You know, people be scared of these youngsters, and media propaganda pushes it when they, you know, the bipping, the this, and there's been way worse stuff going on in the world than breaking in a car. And then they come with they're attacking the elderly people, and all that media propaganda makes people see the youth and go the other direction. Even our own people will see the youth and go the other direction. The youth could be looking for help. He could be losing his mind, and we think he on some shady shit because we lost connection with our own people.
Right. How do you feel, and what do you think about you being a thoroughbred town baby and to see Oakland lose its identity and its originality?
And it's painful. And it's painful seeing Oakland lose the things that were meaningful to being an Oakland native to myself. And even it's painful not seeing all the black-owned business that used to be up and running, you know. And it was more painful was these youngsters have never seen nothing. They've never got to see the big old 10-cent cookies and the pig feed, and you know, like when you know what I'm talking about, like in the 80s, how the town looked and how far your money used to go and things of that nature. But to preserve that, we still do things like celebrate Black August. You know, me and my comrade EJ, brother EJ, we do workshops. We go try to talk to the youngsters, and we bring up and pass them a lot of information they probably wouldn't get nowhere else. You know what I mean? We tell them about some of the struggles on this side of the playing field, and on the other side of the playing field, we tell them about people like George Jackson, Jonathan Jackson, Asada Shakur, you know, the Panthers and things of that nature, you know, because you just keyed in on a very strong point. At the rate we going now, they can literally erase Oakland history. If and I'm not targeting nobody, if all we worried about is functions, who gonna preserve the history? You know what I mean? To this day, they finding mountains full of Dead Sea Scrolls from thousands of years ago. That's how important history is. Somebody thought, let's write down everything we know and tuck it somewhere to never be lost so the world won't be lost. That's how important history is, bro.
So what is your perspective of knowing, like, when we was coming up, what hyphy meant, and where is your mentality thinking of where hyphy has its aura of today?
So I missed the hyphy movement. I would say, like, kind of like due to incarceration, I probably was down. And hyphy was, I don't know, hyphy was kind of different when the Mac was alive. You know, even though I wasn't there, looking at the board, I feel like hyphy was different before. Well, I'm not going to make it seem like nobody did anything. When Mac Dre was doing it, it wasn't like a hyphy moment. It was just like the Mac movement. I don't know. but later it became the hyphy moment, or it could have been a hyphy moment the whole time. But I just seemed like after the Mac had passed, a lot of people exploited the hyphy moment. A lot of people started being a part of that movement that probably never would have been a part of it if Mac Dre was still there. So I don't want to seem like I'm targeting or attacking anybody, but the hyphy movement got exploited. They exploited the hyphy movement, and it was a good way to kind of push gangster music to the side, because you know what the town was kind of founded on. You know what I mean? It was either on Player. I mean, come on. We had Seagram. We had Short. We had Seagram. Gangsta P. There's a few other people I can name. I probably won't name, but it was like in the beginning, it was like even 40 hyphy movement. It was outsmart the popo, practice looking hard. You know what I mean? And it wasn't the hyphy movement probably was beautiful for the young people. You know, you can't like knock it or nothing. I ain't got into a fight in LA County because a nigga asked me excuse my language. A dude in LA County asked me, "Is y'all really up there licking cars?" And I took off on him. So I took it. You know, being like I don't know that licking car, and they probably was. I don't know, but it just seemed like the wrong thing to ask me in LA County in front of a bunch of people. You know what I mean? So hyphy music was beautiful for the people that was living the hyphy music, the hyphy moment. But to me, I don't think I've ever really went in the studio and was like, give me a hyphy beat, or I want to go dumb on the song. Not knocking anybody that went dumb on a song or rapped over hyphy music, but I was a product of like the Ghetto Boys, the Delinquents, the West Coast Bad Boy. You know, I was a product of people putting their pain to a beat. Like I'm telling my story like this, and I'm hustling, or I survive. You know, you get where I'm going. You know, yes.
What do you think about the state of hip hop in the Bay Area today?
State of hip hop, and I love the High Rose, MacArthur Maze. It's a few other. I love what's going on with hip hop. And saying hip hop, right? I love what's going on with hip hop. I feel like gangster music is being shunned upon because of what took place with drill music and some of these other places. You know what I mean? Because I'm one of them type of people, when you get on your platform and I done heard somebody say the gangster music did worse to the black community than slavery. And I do not agree with stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because on the flip side, I've been down and out. I've been in a hole. I've been at my breaking point with nothing but Tupac lyrics to keep me alive. You hear me? My homeboys doing life said that mama be stressing, getting tired when they kid, feeling asked that question, where my daddy at? Mama, why we live so poor? Heard you crying through the late night in my bedroom door. Now why my daddy at? Why they keep on calling me niggas? Give my weight up, grip my hate and pay them back what I'm bigger. It's still thugging in this jail cell, missing my block. Hearing niggas screaming all night, wishing they stop. I live that with nothing but them lyrics to keep me going. So I don't know. Gangster music was a big part of my journey and my transition to getting here. So if you take that out, I could have lost. You know what I mean? Like I woke up in cells when my neighbor that hung themselves. I was waiting for my cell to pop, and the people who got out before me, one of the dudes jumped off the 5th tier in Folsom and killed himself because his family got in a car accident. He lost his whole family in the car accident. So he got the news, and when child came, he jumped off the 5th tier and killed himself. You know, so I've been there when people have lost hope and gave up, you know? So I don't know if it ain't even funny. I ain't trying to laugh, but I think everything in my life, most of the stuff I cross paths with or the things that I gravitated to end up being my strength when I needed strength, if that makes sense.
For sure. Like a Bible.
Facts.
Come on, man.
Facts.
Come on, man. Man. This brother right here, boy, that knowledge. So, you know, I've been hearing through the grapevine that you took the time out to go re-educate yourself. So, how does it feel, man, being back into, you know, the orchestration of things to where you actually been in college and you tune it to transition to be, you know, a major and going further places and getting your degrees and bachelors and all this different shit into what?
I would like to be a mental health therapist and a substance abuse therapist. That's when I'm my first AA would be in a kosher program, and then when I switched to a 4-year, I haven't decided, but I'm either leaning towards psychology or maybe social work.
Man, you got a lot of great knowledge that, you know, that you give and, you know, you share honor on. So I think a lot of these young men for sure can use this wisdom that you got, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times that people get misguided because they don't have the right people in their ear to at least put something to where a nigga can think about it, you know what I'm saying? And with this game that you done played, you know what I'm saying, on both sides of the field, it only takes right for somebody like yourself to get back to that to help transition a lot of people that probably didn't made the same mistakes as you in one point, you know what I'm saying? So with you being that type of guy that can take and talk the type of lingo that's needed, I think a lot of these young men that play in the field would tune to wake up a lot more, you know?
Man, you're so right. And it's like my biggest thing with the youngsters is, you know, if we had a group of youngsters right now, what's your end game? Ain't nobody thinking about no end game. Or how long? What is the statistics, or what is the lifespan of a gangster? You trying to be a gangster? How long do gangsters live? I don't think the youngsters can think that far right now. Because when I was a gangster, I didn't have no 5-year plan or no 10-year plan. I had a society telling me that I would be lucky if I made it to 25. So I'm trying to live the best life that I live. If my life about to end in about 3 years, and it's not gonna end from old age, you know what I mean? Because what was Pac when he died? Pac died in 96. I remember I was on the field. I was living a pretty good life in my mind, you know, but Pac had movies, Pac had everything. And he died in the street like so many of our friends die in the street, but he didn't die in the street on accident. You know what I mean? That was a part of the systematic trap. And that's what these youngsters, they don't know nothing about no systematic trap. But I've been on the other side of that systematic trap, and I've survived. So if you tell me what freeway you getting on, I can tell you what kind of traffic you're going to be dealing with. I can tell you, oh, it's a dead end over there. You just go drive off and it's going to be over. Because that's really what life is about. None of this stuff that nobody doing is new. I don't care how you breaking in. I don't care how you getting it out to chicken. It's been done before. You know what I mean?
Bro, do you remember when our creative thinking was our GPS, bro? When we had to remember shit when it went. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so crazy to me, bro, to see how technology has changed and see all of these young men and young ladies have an easier access to a faster road. Our faster road was us remembering the last results of how we got there probably 4 months ago. But you remembering this shit like it was 4 days ago or 4 hours ago. You know what I'm saying? That shit is crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? And throughout time, every time probably you didn't came back, it been a different type of error. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy you would say that. Before I answer that, I want to say that one of the first things I noticed at school was I had been doing things like critical thinking since I was 12, but I didn't know it was critical thinking. But when we was trying to figure out how to navigate through, that was critical thinking. Then it got even more critical thinking when you got the penitentiary, because you know it's about 33 prisons in the state of California, and most of us Bay Area, you lucky if you get to stay in San Quentin. You know, that's our backyard. You lucky if you get to Solano. So that's 2 out of this 33 prisons, it's 31 of the options. I've been in Blythe, California. I've been in Soledad, California. And you go all these places, and that's where you got to strengthen this critical thing, because it's not your backyard no more. In our backyard, it's blackness, and you land in another backyard, and they ain't even know you no care packages, whatever y'all got, you got to build it there, and you got to keep it going. Because when you land where you land, every month it's new buses. So when that bus comes, you're like, okay, I got 3 more people in my race we got to take care of. We got to get shower shoes for. We got to get, because when you step off that bus, you have nothing. You a millionaire, whatever. But when you step off that bus, you need a care package. You need your basic hygiene, and that's just from being reputable and solid and not being on the bad news list. So, but before you even get to us, they're going to be like, it's a young bro up there, you want one of y'all people. Okay, so we getting the care package together, and that's the kind of structure and stuff you got to have. And that ain't being hooked or nothing. That's just being a black man. You feel what I'm saying? You ain't got to, because the Bay Corps is different from Bloods and Crips. The Bloods and Crips, they go automatically have that for their people. But you slide in as a civilian, and other civilians coming, you got to take care of your people. So, so I go back to, I realized that I'd be critical thinking for a very long time.
Man, if you could tell Lil CL one thing, what would you tell him?
When you say Lil CL, give me a,
So when I say Lil CL,
like me from a past life, the younger
like if you right now, right?
Got you.
You could put the younger you in front of you right now. What would you tell me?
Not to care so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what I would tell him. It might sound a little selfish, but when you've seen as many good-hearted or good people die, and like the people who not give a fuck still be here and prosper, that's what I would tell myself. Because I've seen a lot of good, like, angelic beings. Like Lil Bobby. Did you know my partner Lil Bobby? Lil Bobby was super solid. Like, yeah, Lil Blue Nose. Like, and the way he went, like, oh, that shit, it was like, you get what I'm saying? And it ain't like you ain't did nothing wrong, and you lived a beautiful life, and but yeah, I would just, yeah.
Bobby used to be in them 20s over there on 25th with us. You know what I'm saying? One of my little family members, is somewhat, attached from the Dubs to Sobrani. So Rob used to really be around us a lot, you know what I'm saying? And also a couple other good brothers from over there, you know what I'm saying? I hold Sobrani dear to me because a lot of people don't know we come from the same org, because we're part of that family, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times people understand, they hear mob hella much, mob, but we come from a family, you know what I'm saying, the family. So that's something dear that I hold close to me, because we always was kind of like the opposites of, you know what I'm saying, as they say today, you know what I'm saying, and you got to know your history to know that, and a lot of people don't know their history because they either didn't play a part of this shit that we call the town, or they really didn't, understand it because they were seeing it from afar, and I appreciate, bro, the endeavors of, the sacrifices that you gave to stay solid and not solid throughout your time, bro, because we came up in a time where telling, you know what I'm saying, being weird, you know what I'm saying, the letter guys, any of that, you couldn't come back to the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no such thing, so like a lot of the things that happen in today's era, it wasn't where it's at, and I commend you, bro, because you stay solid, you stay thorough on old school rules, bro. Before I reached out to you and shit, I'm like, bro, I need to make sure I do something special for CL, because I feel like these people don't take the heat out to listen to a powerful voice, because we're in a time where the characteristics of what you show and with a person look at you, that's law. You know what I'm saying? And it's so materialistic lives of life today. You know, it's like, man, we all got something good to say. You know what I'm saying? We all got some history to put out to the table, and the history that you put out to the table is thorough and it's original. And a lot of people might not understand because they didn't come from that field. You know, so it's a beautiful thing, bro, to see you transitioning from a silverback, bro, to a full-fledged father, bro, community activist, bro, like you said, a future therapist. You know what I'm saying? All of these different things from transitioning, bro, because a lot of times.
I'm still a silverback too, though. I will always be a silverback.
Oh, it's in you, and it's on you, but you can feel the pureness of it, though, bro. It's a great deed to understand that, bro. It ain't where you from, it's where you going.
No, facts. It's man, you said something about life changing every time, you know, you go back, and that was real, and that almost played a big role in my mental health, because it was a time where I felt like the longer I stayed on the streets, you know, because it after you break the 2-3 years, one day you look up like, damn, I've been out for 3 years, then 5-6 years. But it's more coming with this, because this is your first time in a long time. So I start feeling like jail was realer than the streets, if that makes any sense. And when I say realer, I feel like people kept their word more on the other side of the wall. Or if a person say go do this, they really go do it. And I'm out here and I'm dealing with people, especially in the industry. You get in the industry where you meet people and, bro, I'm gonna hit you in the morning, you called and you don't answer the number, and everybody just tell you whatever they tell you in the face, and it shit wasn't real. So that started affecting me up here, like, damn, do I gotta be a fake ass nigga to be successful? Cause I'm not gonna never be successful if I gotta start getting on interviews and lying and be like, oh yeah, we just got in the shootout and boom, 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 we was gone. I'm not doing none of that.
Bro, I had to look at that shit too, bro. That shit was like, it bothers a motherfucker real bad, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like motherfuckers in a heavy spiritual warfare, you know, and a lot of people don't know what side they want to pick until the side is picked for them. You know, and it's fucked up to understand, bro. Like I was telling my people, you know what I'm saying, even to go back a little, rewind back to these young men, right? We took these niggas to so many turf events, block parties, neighborhood shit, to where we created the poison, but we didn't want to give the medicine to cause from the infection that we put in that wound. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's fucked up, because like you said, we ran from it. A lot of people were so scared that the animal that they created that turned into a beast, that he turned into an untamed gorilla. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, that's why a lot of these kids tune to like the old us, because they remember when a motherfucker was so militant and so stern, and it's like now, like, you a father? Like, you up? Yeah. Like, yeah, this always been me, but due to my circumstances of probably what I was against, you're either gonna be praised, or prayed. You know what I'm saying?
Say that one more time. I liked that.
You know what I'm saying?
You'll be praised, or prayed. Yeah, that's dope.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
And it's real talk. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you come from the city of dope, it ain't too many options. You know what I'm saying? And due to the environments and neighborhoods where we come from, a lot of us was taught to not like each other due to the stature or limitation of what they dealt with in their past. You know what I'm saying? To where we just had to just take on. Oh, yeah, yep, we don't fuck with them. Motherfucker ain't never did nothing to you. You ain't never even dropped no piece of paper by your feet. But due to the circumstances what we had to pick up, that's the problem. You know, and it's so cold where we understand the problem and we got the solution, but is people willing to give the solution? You know what I'm saying? And it's so many of us that really truly understand, that might put our best foot forward, but might not get the whole equation to the answer the way this need to be received to them people, because a motherfucker might not flaunt it in a way for them to like it. You know? But let's say like motherfucker might come down with the shit on, then it's like, oh yeah, hey, big bro, ooh, now motherfucker understand. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because I remember when we was coming up, the Dauphin gave a nigga some of the greatest games that a nigga ever can get.
Listen, the being laced and readers, when I first, after the Y, I come on to 18 and then catch a rock case or something. I go to Rita in 94. I got the most game being incarcerated in Rita. And it probably would start off by a OG and then being sick. Youngster, you got some candy. Now, go to the machine and go get him a couple candy bars. I'm not thinking nothing of it. Then after that, it's like, I'm teaching you Swahili. I'm teaching you this and read this book and what kind of case you fighting. And he showing me how to look my case up on a law library. Then when you start looking your case up, because, you know, I came up in the era where they thought we was uneducated. So when you call the case, they give you like 4 or 5 extra cases. And now I'm able to go to my public defender and be like, hey, for these 4 cases, I shouldn't even have, I ain't do none of this. According to the law, you got to be caught like this for this charge to be there. So now I just talked my way out of 4 of my charges that was up there. And the education I had got made it where I kind of like became my own little jailhouse lawyer. So I knew how to navigate. Like to this day, I don't have no strikes. I just got my record expunged. I'm not bragging. I'm just talking about the game I was able to pick us from the OGs. Now look at these youngsters. They don't have that. These youngsters in there jumping everybody. They gang banging. Who was going to teach them how to navigate through that murder case? Because I was able to pass the game I got down to some of my partner Tay. He come in there with a kidnap robbery. And Tay from seminary, he listened to everything I told him. He beat that case. I said, don't listen to your lawyer. Tell me everything. He told me everything. Said waive time. We waived time for about 6 months. And he figured out the person, the victim, said, I went back to my country. I said, all right, pull your time waiver. He pulled his time waiver. They didn't have no witness. So they had to give him a deal and let him go. And I'm not saying I was the greatest jailhouse lawyer, but I was able to apply the common sense that I had got from the OGs that forced me to get it from the candy bar shit. So it was like that. We are nothing without that full connection, bro. You know what I mean? Like during COVID, a lot of our elders, grandmothers and great-grand, a lot of them people died. We can never get that back. They're like the game and the stuff they've been through. You know what I mean? Because like now you take a rich 20-year-old, you 20 and you having it your way, but I'm twice your age. I done had it my way about 6, 7 different times. This might be your first time having it your way. You don't know it all because you having it your way. Because 2 to 3 years from now, you could lose it by gambling. You can lose it all kinds of different ways. Somebody could run off with it, whatever. And losing it, if you lose it, you got to know how to get it back without losing this. Because who was the people who lost their job and was committing suicide? The Wall Street people. Ain't nobody made no Wall Street money. We did you go work in warehouses and Walmart? This man got the best job in the world and he loses it and jump out his penthouse window the same night. So this mental health shit is real. Yeah, it's real because everybody can't. You get where I'm going with this. But I love the youth, man. We gotta get them right. But I could say all the right things in this interview, but we got to get on the ground with them. It gotta be hands on. It gotta be hands on. You know, you gotta answer that phone at 3 or 4 in the morning when he probably about to crash out. And like, hey, where you at? Let me come grab you. Or at least let me talk to you and try to talk you out of some things. You know, like it be real. You know.
Facts. Come on, man. It's an honor, man, to have one of the jewelers, man, from the town, man.
I need another one of these.
Come on. It's all good. It's, like I said, man, it's a true honor to have you here today, man. I'm thankful, you feel me, for the transitional change that, you know, that came throughout the time, bro. the leadership that you bring into the table today, you feel me? The vow that you done gave to the culture, you feel me? From the inside to the outs, you feel me? The contributes that you did play a part of in history of the compilations and the music that you contribute from being in this shit, you feel me? We thank you for that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Give your gold bars and your flowers while you here, while you alive, while you can smell it, while you can taste it, while you can hold it, you feel me? To tell you, bro, we thank you, we honor, we love you so much, bro, for what you done did, you feel me? Because at the end of the day, bro, you done had to put yourself in like you said, in a charismatic way to where you putting others before yourself, you know what I'm saying? And that's just been a thoroughbred silverback town baby, you know what I'm saying? Fighting for what's right, a neighborhood, a turf, a block, a zone, something that people don't understand today because it's not those things no more, you know? And thank you for being original, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for still being thorough, you know, to understand like it ain't where we from, it's where we going, you know? Keep putting the pain where it ain't, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, bro, thank you, bro. Keep being this great representation, bro, of an elder, bro, an OG, bro, a solid sahib, you know what I'm saying? Like my niggas say, comrade, you know what I'm saying? And we got one of the greatest to do it, man, the jeweler himself, man. Big Lim, Sabrandy, you know what I'm saying? Kevin Lockett, little brother, man. CL.
Yes, sir.
Come on, man. It's an honor, man. Wake your game up, but don't fuck your name up.
Say something slick, man. Y'all be looking out for that Jewel Thief, part 2. Rest in peace, Lieutenant Rail. Rest in peace to all the fallen comrades from the hood, man. And Wake Your Ass Up podcast. Say something slick. Blah, blah.